Is it working? Is it working? Let's see. All right. Well, it says waiting for DNR Auto, but I'm here. I wanted to pull this up so I can see the old live chat 6000. What's going on, everybody? How you guys doing? 10 to 1 and up, definitely. Yep. We are running good fuel. That is good news. How's everybody doing on this beautiful Sunday? Hey, there we go. Now we're getting comments. Jacob Sparks, what's up? What's going on, folks? Man, it has been an eventful couple weeks, we could say. We just been grinding out here, making it happen. Man, what the hell did you do now to the engine? I don't know if you guys saw, I just put out the video earlier today, and there was a lot of comments, and there's a lot of stuff that I think is just a little confusing, I guess, would be a way to put it. And also, I feel like maybe I'm not explaining things the best way, or sometimes it's hard. You do the video and you film and then you edit, and then you're like, and then man, I wish I would have said this or shown a little bit of that or whatever. And I realized that I have been, first of all, I have been kicking ass lately, because I do keep track of this stuff, right? So, for example, in the month of March, this month, I have been dropping a video on YouTube every 2.5 days. That's grinding. That's a lot of work. We've been putting into work. But what I haven't done is going live at all this month. And usually I like going live just to kind of kick with y'all, answer some questions. I do try to answer a lot of the questions in the comments and stuff, but sometimes the comments are kind of hard and everything to get sorted and all that goodness. So going live ain't bad. All right. I'm seeing a bunch of comments popping in now. What's up? How you doing? I'm doing good. What's up, brother? That thing doesn't look like it's pulling hard. Well, it was pulling hard. It was pulling hard for about 100 feet until the head and the block went whoosh and started to separate. So how are we doing? I'm doing great. I'm very, very happy with the way some of these things are going. Even though I got a blown up engine, it is what it is. We'll talk about that. How much timing were you running? So I was running, right now the base is set at 34 degrees, and old school train of thought thinking whatever is 2 degrees for every 50, and we ended up pulling like 16 degrees. I think that there was a lot of timing taken out that didn't need to be. And well, I'll kind of explain part of that too. One of the reasons why is I see some folks asking about the fuel. I use good fuel with the nitrous. Now, since we went back to the LS, the tank, the regular engine tank, fuel tank, the regular running tank, had 110 in it. It was about halfway full, and then I topped it off at 93. All we really need is 93 for the engine. It's not high compression. There's nothing special about it. There's just no need to really be putting race fuel in. Now, on top of that, the nitrous system, I spray a wet kit, and it has its own separate fuel system. It's got its own little fuel cell, its own little fuel pump, everything. When I turn the nitrous button on, the fuel pump kicks on, and when the nitrous turns on, it sprays that fuel. Now, that fuel is 117, which would be similar to, like, if you're familiar with a VP C16, same kind of concept. It's just a different brand, and they have a 117. So we do spray good fuel. So really, the good fuel is used to help prevent detonation, and you can also run a little bit more timing. So I think we really overkilled it on the timing. I was trying to, in my head, I thought what I was doing was being safe, but in all actuality, going too far the other way, having too little timing, having too much fuel can actually be very detrimental as well. Now, I'm not saying that that's why what happened. I don't know. We don't know why it lifted the heads. It could be 10 different reasons. And with what little information we have about this and everything else, it's hard to say what is the actual cause of what happened. We can speculate. It could have been, I could have, and usually this is like I don't know if it's a bad quality or good quality. Like usually I start by blaming myself. So it's possible that during the assembly process, maybe I did not clean the surfaces well enough. Maybe I didn't have a good seal. Maybe, I torqued the heads, but maybe I screwed something up. It's possible that the head surface was not completely flat to begin with anyway. Something that I found out through talking to an engine builder buddy of mine was that the MLS gaskets are great, but what they do not do is do a super good job of surface imperfections, of filling in those surface imperfections. What we do to kind of help with that is with the copper spray, but I noticed that when I pulled it apart, I did not use enough copper spray. I do know that. I would like to use more. So, New Jersey in the house. What's up? Jacob Sparks, I appreciate it. Keep your head up. Crap happens. Wisconsin in the house. So, okay, so did you really blow it up, or did you just hurt a head? Well, so I didn't really blow it up. I lifted a head, and it's just kind of like, I guess, dependent on the way people say things. Like, people say, "Oh, I blew my motor up," and that could mean 20 different things. Some people say I blew my motor up and they literally blew a rod out the side of it. Some people say I blew my motor up and they hurt a piston, or whatever the case may be. But really all it looks like we did is lift heads, which is not the end of the world. What was the torque on the head bolt? They were 75. You're right, way too much timing out. Yep. Is there a chassis dyno you can get a base tune? I could, but the issue with that, not necessarily like an issue, but I guess we'll take it back a little bit, right? The thing that I think everybody is failing to realize here, and this is why I wanted to go live, because maybe I haven't been doing a good job of explaining it, or people just haven't been paying attention, or whatever the case may be. Big block is coming back, right? I'm going to give you guys the full rundown. Well, not the full rundown, but I'll give you guys a bunch of the rundown of what's happening right now. Big block will be making a return. The issue we are facing right now is we are waiting on parts. Okay, we got an engine builder. He's working diligently to get everything in, to get everything sorted, all that kind of good stuff. Right now, he is having similar problems that folks across the country are having, which is getting their hands on the parts that they want. And I say specifically the parts that they want because through talking to him a lot and just noticing stuff that's been going on in the world, if you noticed, or if you've seen it all lately, it seems as though also here lately some of the quality of parts has gone down, just in general, right? So when I say he's waiting on the parts that he wants, for example, calling somebody up for a set of pistons and saying, hey, were those pistons made a year ago? Because if they were made a year ago, I want them. If they were just made now, I don't want them. And it could be overcautious, it could be whatever the case may be, but that's what's going on. So to put this in in the nutshell, Big Block will be making its return. We're waiting on parts. What I'm doing with the LS in the meantime is literally just having fun, because this is what I love to do. I enjoy racing. I enjoy working on the cars, everything. And obviously I enjoy making content and hanging out with you guys. So this is all just really just for fun. Like, I know that putting an LS in this thing is not going to be at least an LS on nitrous in the current setup. And that's also why we're doing the current setup. Because when I do the LS like this with the carb and the nitrous and everything, a lot of the parts stay the same to go from this to the big block back to this, you know what I mean? So all I'm trying to do here is set myself up for a potential backup engine if we end up in a situation where we're down with a big block again, we really need to race, we need to do something, whatever the case may be, and we'll do it. So that's why the setup is what it is. That's why we're doing what we're doing. Because in all honesty, it would do me absolutely zero good to just sit here and do nothing with my thumb up my ass because we're waiting on big block parts. That's not going to help anything. I'll be open and honest. One of my goals is to continue to grow my YouTube channel, is to continue to work at this, and to continue to make progress. If you guys are just tuning in, I said earlier, in the month of March, the average, I'm dropping a video every 2.5 days in the month of March on average. And that's doing good things for the channel. It's doing good things for me and my life and the racing program and everything else. So that's that's kind of what we're doing here. We're having fun. We're working with this engine, hurting it. Don't get me wrong. It does get frustrating at times because you're like, shit, I didn't want that to go that way. But this is not the end of the world. Should have started at 8 degrees. Yeah, we should definitely started with a lot less timing pulled. Where can I get a Philly racing shirt? You can hit up Philly Street Racing Team. They're on YouTube, Facebook. I'm sure they probably have a website. Should change the gear in the rear end. LS doesn't have the torque the big block does. This is probably an older comment. Would make sense, yes, but we are going back to big block, so I'm not going to do that just to screw myself in the future. Head studs, we're doing studs. I would mill the heads a little bit just to be safe next go. So what I'm going to do, and I talked about it in the video, is I'm going to actually, lightly sand the heads, and we're going to look for highs and low spots, which is going to help us determine whether or not the heads need to go machine shop and be milled. You're going to make the race. I don't know what race you're talking about, but the whole purpose of this, this is what I don't think people understand. When you commit to something like this, for example, like having a YouTube channel, racing, damn near nonstop, or whatever the case may be, you cannot be down for long periods of time. So it sucks. It's not what some people might say is the right answer. The right answer is, oh, you need to take your time and save up and build a badass engine. Okay, so then what am I going to do for the next 6 months? You know what I mean? It doesn't work like that. Because of the goals that I've set in my mind and the things that I'm trying to accomplish and the way that I'm going about them, we have to be running. Sometimes that means taking a junkyard 5.3, throwing it in, and seeing what we can do with it in order to make that work. So as far as am I going to make the race or not, the whole purpose of this is set up in a way so that way I can always have the car running. If I have to, I'll have an LS on standby. The big block will come back at some point. We're not sure. We're waiting on parts. So that's going to, kind of determine what we do in the next weeks, months, whatever the case may be. Let me scroll down here. Dedication to the sport. Thank you, Marcus. What up, South Carolina? Greetings from Finland. What time is it in Finland? That's what I want to know. Hello there, howdy. Parts are hard to get right now. Yep, quality has gone down dramatically. Yep, if you find them, they're weeks or not months out before. Yeah, so this is all stuff we're dealing with, and it's, I'm gonna be flat honest with you guys. I don't have like a whole crap ton of money. Like, I'm not a super loaded kind of guy where I can skip lines or go straight to the best of the best or whatever that stuff to get those kind of parts and to make it work. All that matters is having fun. Exactly. We're having fun. I'm enjoying myself. It is what it is. We're at a point now where we're just having fun with the car. I know it's not kicking ass, it's not doing everything we want it to do, it's not winning races and all that kind of stuff, but I think that one of the things that people forget, this is what you guys are experiencing right now, and what you guys are seeing right now in my YouTube videos is the grind. It is the part of the story, and I I have enough, thought process to see this. This is the part of the story where you guys see me work day in, day out, and I guarantee you in 6 months, a year and a half, whatever the case, 2 years, however long it takes, whatever the road ends up being. But in that amount of time, we're going to have a whole new set of things where it's like people are turning around and we start getting the, oh, thank you, babe. Then it'll be the, oh, it must be nice. This is the part of the story, when you get to the it must be nice part, this is the part of the story everybody forgets. It's the working on the car every day. It's the trying different things. It's the messing stuff up and learning how to fix it. I don't have 30 years of racing experience. I don't have it. This is me getting that experience. We're not going to get to 30 years of racing experience without this part of the story. That's why I'm able to maintain such a positive attitude about all of this stuff that happens and everything that's going on. Because I know this is where we're at. I know in 6 months, a year, whatever the case may be, it's going to be a different story. We have to go through this part to get to that part. The grass on the back tire looks like air pockets. Plus, you're learning new things every day. Absolutely. Keep pushing. Great thing about Chevy is the interchange between small block and big block. Yes, absolutely. The trans setup is the same. We've got a little bit of wiggle room that we can move forward and back with the trans as far as the mounting location for the tail shaft and the drive shaft length itself. So Casey Max, yeah, Casey Max, dude, that dude is brilliant. Shout out to Casey Max. If you guys don't already know, last night he crashed. He wrecked the car up. Not sure how bad it is. They're going to have to take a look at it. What's up from Long Island? Content is content, absolutely. God bless all. Do what you love. Have fun. Be safe. Thank you, Dean. Fix the water leak issue and shove that 300 down its throat. It's going to move out. Well, we'll talk a little bit about the game plan as far as what we're going to do in the future. What are you drinking there, Matt? Just some soda. I'm not a drinker. He lifted the head. Yeah, I lifted the head. No big deal. Deck the heads with a sanding block like Liam Neeson. Absolutely, Al. That's what we're planning on doing. And that's how we're going to check. That's how we're going to check to see if we need to send it off to be milled or decked, or I think it's milled. Somebody corrected me. We're using wrong terminology, but we all know what we're talking about. I'll give you guys an idea of the game plan of what's going to come. What I plan to do, and I will show you guys this. It'll be in the next videos and stuff. We're going to sand down the heads, and we're going to check for flatness. Then there is some things we're going to do with the MLS gasket that I'll show you guys, a little tip and trick that a friend of mine told me about. And so we're going to be doing that. We're going to reassemble everything. We're going to do a little bit more torque on the head studs. Not that extra torque on the head studs is just going to keep the heads down. That's going to be it. We're going to do a number of different things that are going to kind of, hopefully precautionary, all work together and work out to be in our benefit. We're going to reassemble it, and at that point we are going to turn the nitrous down. We're not going to go straight from the rip with 300 anymore. As fun as it is, it's a lot less fun to be putting it together, pulling it apart, putting it together, pulling it apart, that whole thing a million times. So we're going to start out with a little bit less nitrous and work our way up the way that we know we should. Make passes, pull plugs, check the timing. We are going to run significantly more timing than I was running, which people think is crazy when you just say that, but they don't understand that we were pulling way too much timing out of this thing. If you guys look at the video I dropped today, I even slowed it down and showed the headers glowing red, which was definitely an issue of not having enough timing. So we're gonna take down the nitrous. We're going to do all of those things, and we are going to start to build a baseline again. My issue is that I know that unless I can spray 300 or more through the LS, it's going to be very hard to just get back to the point where we were with the big block. If I spray 100, we're not going to get there. We're not going to be there. If I, spray 200, we're going to get closer. I really feel like we need to spray 300 or more to kind of be back in the range of times we were. I can tell you that the 160 foot that this thing did on a 300 shot, and it was a soft ramp. We use a Nitrous, the Maximizer 5 progressive controller. It was a pretty easy soft ramp. It showed great potential. Believe it or not, it was maybe a little more than a tenth off from our fastest 60 foot time on that same road with the big block. Yeah. So we're not super far off, but I know that it's going to take that much nitrous to do it. The stuff you're going through happens to everyone. It's just that most people don't post or make videos when it happens to them. You have a great attitude, Matt. Thank you. That is very true. This shit happens to everybody. It's just it usually doesn't happen to everybody publicly. In order to do this, I have to go into it knowing that there's going to be a lot of shit talkers. There's going to be a lot of negative Nancys. There's going to be a lot of haters. There's going to be a lot of folks that are unhappy or want to talk shit about it. But in the meantime, this is the same kind of shit that's happened to them. Or, honestly, this is not the same kind of shit that's happened to them because they've never had enough, fight and drive in them to go do and try to do what we're trying to do. It comes with the territory. Keep being transparent and doing so you're helping others. Many channels never show the struggles of new combinations. Thank you, J. Steed. I appreciate it. The thing is I would rather be open and transparent, and it sucks because, like I said, it comes with a lot of that negativity. It comes with a lot of that hate and everything else. But I feel like that is something that is missing, in some of these, YouTube videos and everything else. It's crazy to me to see the reaction. I follow all kinds of guys on YouTube and, all kinds of racers, all sorts of folks. I know all kinds of people. And it's crazy to me that some people hurt their engines and it's nothing but, oh man, that sucks. Wish it was better, blah, 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 blah. But I heard an engine and it's like, you're an idiot, you suck, you can't do shit, blah, 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 blah. Like, what is everybody so bad about? He kept his word. He was building a spray to the moon and he didn't bullshit us. Yeah, I can say that. It'll hold 300, 250. Matt, I wish you were closer. I would love to get them heads in our shop and show you the difference. I would love to. You should try putting 2 head gaskets per side. That was the thought. Yeah, Mark, I thought about that. Do boosted engines last longer than nitrous engines? That's... How do we explain that? I'm not going to say that they last longer or don't last longer. Nitrous engines are harder on parts. So you have to understand that a boosted engine is forcing air into the cylinders, right? So even if this thing was turbo, we could have done the same thing with lifting the heads with, 10 pounds, 15 pounds. It could have even happened on 6 pounds of boost just because maybe the head surface was not good to begin with. The thing is, when you introduce nitrous, you're essentially introducing a chemical reaction of chemical extra air into the cylinder, right? So the way that it happens, it's different. It's more violent. There's pros and cons to each. I believe that with the nitrous, there's a different feel in it. I've never had a turbo car, but I've ridden in turbo cars. It definitely feels different. The Nitrous is much more violent and very rowdy and off the line and bam, good hard pull, and you can feel it immediately. Whereas the turbo, it just feels like it never stops accelerating like that. It just keeps getting faster as it's going down. There's definitely differences. I definitely am going to be doing turbo stuff. Like I said earlier, the point of why I'm doing this is because the big block is coming back. I don't want to make too many changes. I don't want to put this thing, fuel injection, turbo, all that kind of stuff, and then when the big block comes back, have to undo all of that stuff to put the big block in. Right now, it's set up relatively simply where, the ignition box for the big block is still there. You guys see the coils still on the firewall. A bunch of the stuff is still here. The fuel system is all entirely the same other than when it comes out of the pressure regulator. It's different there, but it makes it very easy to swap back and forth between the two. Oh my God. Daniel James, I apologize to you, but you are about to feel my wrath. The water pump is not fucking backwards. I don't know how many times I have gone over this, and I see it a million times in the comment. Water pump is smooth. It turns counterclockwise of the crank. I even have on video, slow motion, because I did it, of just double checking that. The water pump is not turning backwards. I don't know why. What I'm thinking is happening is people are looking up the belt routing of a Silverado. They see the belt is on the other side, and they think it's spinning the wrong way. That's not the case. On a Silverado, there's a power steering pump there, and the belt is on the other side because in order to make everything turn the way that it needs to with the pulleys and all that shit, that's the way it works. My water pump is spinning counterclockwise. Smooth pulleys spin opposite the crank. Groove pulleys spin same as crank. You work hard, thank you. You can get Forged Internals kit. What ring gap are you running? 28 and 32. Yeah, shouldn't have pulled that much timing, absolutely. You get through pistons and spark plugs, yep. Wrong tune, the all brake. Lifted ahead. You, sir, an inspiration. The rest of us regular guys that love racing. Your failures are our gain. Thank you for your honesty and the humble approach to love the sport. Absolutely, Greg. I gotta tell you guys, it really is comments like that keep a lot of this stuff going. Like I said, there's a lot of negativity, a lot of hatred, and everything else that definitely gets frustrating at times. But seeing comments like that definitely help. Belt routing is wrong. No, the belt routing is not wrong. Talk about Hot Wheels. Okay, here's another thing. I think that a lot of folks that watch these YouTube videos don't understand. I think maybe you guys aren't comprehending or don't have the knowledge of what these cars are, what they're running, and what they're trying to do. Because there are vast differences in everything that you see on YouTube. For example, KC Max, 5.3, stock bottom end deal. That car is 10 times the car this is. The car itself, the chassis, the everything is 10 times the car this is. KC Max is probably 100 times the tuner I am. I know what he runs. I know. Him and I have actually been talking quite a bit lately. I know what it is he's running. And it is a world of difference from this, which is also a world of difference from somebody else who's running a 5.3 on 150 shot and he won a race in a video. Okay, but we're probably talking about things that are 2 to 3 seconds apart in the 8th mile. Let me see. Have you checked the heads for cracks? I have not yet because I haven't sanded. What I'm planning on doing is sanding it down, checking for level height, and we're gonna then go over it. there's no point in checking right now with them dirty. I want to get them cleaned up first before we start checking for cracks. Talk car stuff, not drama. Hell yeah. It's all right, Daniel. Sorry, Daniel, you caught my wrath today just because there's been 600 comments about me spinning the water pump the wrong way, and I know it's not. You just happen to be the one today to catch the wrath. Are you sure? Can I have a few more haters? Mine are starting to like me. I like it. I would love to get my hands on my game plan. I will tell you guys this. What I'm planning to do with the Camaro is going to be aluminum LS with turbos. That is my game plan there, because I want to overcome the fact that I don't make a bunch of power and we can still make really good power, but overcome the fact that I don't make a bunch of power by using weight to our advantage. And also there's weight distribution that has to come into play. Think about how heavy something is on the front versus the back. All that stuff comes into play in meal prep and street racing. Good day. Are you ever going to tint the windows? No, I don't really have any reason. I mean, yeah, Casey wrecked last night. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Marcus, exactly. There's people that have been racing and, driving for a long time, and there's a whole bunch of new people that are tuning in right now. So I'm going to tell you what you guys are experiencing right now, what you are seeing right now in my YouTube channel is the part of the story where when we get to months, years from now, this is how I'm going to have knowledge and experience and know what's going to work and not going to work, because we're trying stupid things and we're trying to figure out how to make them work, and that's the way to learn. Canadians, I just set about get some new gaskets. Well, what I want to do is I'm gonna call local machine shops tomorrow. My problem is that I cannot, I'm trying. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm trying and I'm working hard to hit some goals. The reason I know that we've been putting out a YouTube video every 2.5 days in the month of March is because that it was a part of my goal process, and I'm hitting that, which is sometimes why it sucks, because I can't go to a machine shop and have them have my heads for a week or 2 weeks to work on them. It just doesn't work like that. I definitely need to start reaching out to folks and start building local relationships like that, to where I can bring something in and have a quick turnaround on it. So we do the heads all the time. $55 to crack check, 55. So 55 to crack check. Are you talking like Magnaflux check them? Surface, and 35 to clean them. Yeah. Definitely need to rescale your car with the LS. Yes, I do need to get some scales. I don't have any. How much does Fool's Gold weigh now? I don't know, but going to the comment above, I need to get it on some scales and figure it out. I would assume, let's see, it weighed 3740 with me in it, with the big block and the extra weight in the rear. Since then, we've taken the extra weight out of the rear and the weight out of the doors, and I took one bottle out and everything, so that's about 230 pounds, right? So just to make math easy, for 3740, there's, we'll say 240 pounds. That'll bring us down to 3,500. I'm going to make an assumption that the Iron Block LS weighs 100 pounds less than the big block. Could it be even more? Possibly. Could it be less? Possibly. But I think 100 pounds is a safe determination. So that's going to bring us down to 3,400 pounds with me in it. I want to say that we are probably in that 33 to 3450 range the way it sits. I could be wrong. I definitely need to get it on some scales and get it figured out. Thank you, James. Thank you. All the nitrous pressure is activated. They're saving lots of money on gas by being broken. Matt, any thoughts on sloppy mechanics? Absolutely. I love sloppy mechanics. Matt Happel is the man. I used to watch Matt Happel many years ago. He is one of the individuals who got me very interested in the affordability of LS engines and what you can do with them and all that kind of stuff. So, yes. It's only because you blew a gasket. Yeah. Keep on keeping on. Just because you see doesn't mean the work. Yeah, we're still going to be working hard, even, in success. But shout out from Canada. Would the stock 5.3 handle 300 shot if the timing is right? I don't know. We're going to try to figure that out. I don't think... I'm not going to say that lifting the head wasn't a timing issue, because we're talking about cylinder pressure and heat, right? And you can see that when I took off, and I put it in today's video, when I slowed it down, you see the headers were glowing red and very hot. So heat is going to create pressure as well. If we eliminate some of that heat with proper timing, will it help keep the head down? Possibly. Is it possible that a 300 shot creates just too much cylinder pressure? It's possible. I think that it can live. I think that the issue is you have to learn the combination, what makes it happy, and figure it out. I don't think that it's going to live if you just throw one together and spray it with 300. I just proved that. And if you have no experience with those motors or that kind of nitrous tuning whatsoever, I don't think it's going to live. Can you make it live? Absolutely. Is it much more important that things like timing and fueling and all of that kind of stuff are right? Absolutely. So what it is you can take a bone stock 5.3 and spray 100 through it all day long and not touch anything, timing, whatever, and it'll live for a really long time. Just being honest. Spray a wet kit, it'll live for a long time. But the 300 kind of gets to that limits of where you need to be more careful about what you're doing. Shout out. No, the aluminum pressure test. Oh, okay, I got you. The head's warped surface. Yeah, we're going to do that. I don't know if you guys just noticed. So the way that this went down, I took this apart yesterday. I filmed the video. I stayed up super late last night editing the video and setting it up for premiere today. That video went out today, and I was just sitting here thinking that I haven't gone live in quite a while. It's been a hot minute since we went live, and I just kind of kicked it and talked with you guys. So we decided to do that, which tells me that today, I don't know, maybe today I'll go and get like some supplies, get the sandpaper I need, start getting everything kind of ready, so that way hopefully tomorrow I can start fixing and putting back together. Because in all honesty, it should not take super long. If I sand the heads down and see that they're level and the deck surface looks good and the head looks good and everything looks good, I have another set of head gaskets, which is the only thing that I would need to put this together, to put it back together. I mean, go from there. 3,500 pounds. Thank you. Love your channel. The LS is probably 250 pounds lighter. Woo! Matt coming to Ohio much this season. Billy has scales. I can tell you, I plan on traveling, but I will say this: without the big block in this car, so until the point we get the big block in, or I really somehow get this LS Nitrous combo figured out to where I feel like it's doing pretty well. I'm not going to be doing a lot of far traveling because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for me to drive 8 hours to a race where I know what the car is capable of and it's not there yet. You know, I will be throwing some races, so obviously I will be in those at those races, my shitbox races. I'll be there. But as far traveling, I want to kind of scale back a little bit. And one of the things that's happened in the last couple months is that I have proven to myself, I needed to prove to myself that I can be at home in my garage and continue to make content and be close by to my family and really generally always available. I'm just right here in the garage. The girls need me, bam, I'm right here in the garage. No big deal. So now that I've proven that, I do want to do a little bit more of that. It's a lot nicer not having to drive everywhere all the damn time. Hey Matt, would love a shout out, love your channel. I watch every video. It would be smarter to just get the LS and build it up instead of blowing stuff till you learn. Peter, I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm going to be honest with you. I've seen junkyard motors that have run for a really long time, and when you take them apart, you're like, how the hell did this thing even run? I've seen junkyard motors that blow on the first pass or lift head gaskets on the first pass like I just did. But the same is to be said about new builds. I just heard a story, somebody that I know in the racing world that got this really expensive motor put together, really expensive engine, and had all these best of the best parts and everything, and he kept blowing it up like every couple passes. I forget exactly what the details were, but I want to say he wasn't making more than like 4 or 5 passes. Then it was back to the engine builder, fixed another thousands of dollars later, back again, blown again, back again, blown again. Now in this particular scenario, the guy was getting screwed because when he finally stopped going back to that engine guy and went somewhere else, they took the engine apart and said, hey, all this stuff that he said he was putting in there is not in there. You did not get the best of the best and blah, blah, blah. So that's one story where just somebody was getting screwed. But I've seen plenty of times where, you know, awesome motors, well built, blah, 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 and it still comes apart relatively quickly. It's the nature of the beast. It's racing. You have to understand that things are going to break. Things are not going to work. Anybody who says that, you know, I've had this motor for 30 years and it's never broke. Have you turned it up? Like, you know, which is fine. Like if you're bracket racing or you're index and, you know, you got to run 10-0 every time, you can build a motor that runs 10-0 every time and it can live for a really long time because you're never pushing it to its limits. In heads up racing, we're constantly pushing it to its limits and trying to go faster and all that kind of stuff. So would it be better? In my opinion, I don't think so. And here's why. I don't think it would be better for me to have a super well built, done up LS, go all over this, spend all kinds of crazy amounts of money and all that kind of shit to do it. Number one, because I don't think that it's realistic. I don't think that that is something that a lot of the people that watch my channel can relate to. This, I think, is a lot more relatable. You know, we're going to be dabbling and back and forth and stuff. I'm going to have good motors. I'm going to have bad motors. But I think that the experience that I gained here with motors that are not super expensive and don't cost a lot of money is going to help me tenfold to when I do have good stuff and I don't make similar mistakes with better stuff. Go back out with 250 on it. Yeah. How's the Pro Mod coming along? It's not at this moment. Right now it's sitting in storage. I am one person and we only have this garage space. There's only so much that I can do and so much time and everything else. Late timing since fire out the exhaust. Yep. If your tune is spot on, stock 5.3. Yep. It's your exhaust springs. Weak ones would make the headers hot. No, I got brand new springs. I wouldn't think so. No, I'm not going out today. Let me scroll down here. We got a lot of comments. Hello, hello, hello. Two-stage nitrous kit. I've thought about that, because part of the issue too is I'm spraying it. It's launching at $4,000, and I'm spraying it out of the hole, which is going to be right in the peak torque range. So if I could spray it easier out the hole, but then set the nitrous to come, which I could do with the maximizer. If I put a second kit on it, I could set it to only come on above, let's say 6,000 RPM, which gets us out of that peak torque range. There's a lot of crazy things. Well, I'm not even going to say crazy, but there's a lot of things that can be done. But I don't want to dedicate that much to making this LS nitrous combination work, knowing that Big Block is coming back. Just being honest. I would like to try to figure this out the best we can, and then also the flip side to that is if I spray it, softer out of the hole, we're gonna lose 60 foot, and 60 foot makes a lot of difference in ET. So there's got to be a happy medium. Adam, thank you, brother. Right, right. Let's see, 454 block and crank with pistons with no heads, weight is 580, LM7, blah, blah, blah. LS is significantly lighter. Well, if you're using an aluminum one, yes. Should use Cometic MLS head gaskets. We'll use, I'm just using factory style MLS. Go buy two of the same lawnmowers and one will outlive. Yep. Damn right. Alright, let me scroll down. Late but here. Oh man. We've had a lot of good comments, a lot of good questions. So I guess right now we'll just open it up. I've kind of scrolled down and caught up on the comments, I think. Is that going to be in the way of the camera? No prep in street racing eats parts, period. Sketchy surfaces are rough and stuff, and turning it up to 11 to run heads up. I think that statement is false. And here's why I will say that. Radial prep stuff, sticky track stuff, tears up more shit, in my opinion, than no prep. And here is why. When you make solid contact, when you are dead hooking every time, you're going to find the weak point of the parts. When you race no prep and you have some wheel spin, there's a lot of give that happens, and it can make other parts last longer. Now, the caveat to that is if you're spinning the tires and you're shooting RPM straight up to the sky, obviously that's going to be bad on motors. But I think that no prep is easier on parts than sticky prep stuff. I built a big block. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I'm not made of money. Nope, ain't nobody around here made of money. Screw it, let's put a Duramax in it. People think this man's rich. I love those comments. Like I get a ton of comments, and like on Facebook, and well, you should just put a blah 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 in it. Like, what part of this process made you think that I got $25,000 just sitting in my back pocket to just be like, psh. Like, don't get me wrong. If y'all didn't think if I had $25,000 sitting here in my back pocket, don't you think I would just go and buy a Mike Lowe racing engine LS and put it in? Like, and the problem would be solved. No, I'm just like every one of you guys. I don't got that shit to, you know, to just be throwing at it. Mallory says we can use her engine. No, look, mine's not. We're gonna check the heads. This is not messed up to a point where I think that it can't go back together. Not only that, we're gonna be learning some stuff, and I'd rather learn on mine than learn on yours. Use 2 relays to use 2 kits, 15 bucks. I already have a Maximizer 5. So, if you guys don't know, Nitrous Express is one of my sponsors, and I have a Maximizer 5 already. I can do 16 kits if I wanted to. Well, not 16, but I can do more than one kit and handle it all through the Maximizer 5. Put LS9 gaskets back on it and don't look back, maybe. Well, we're going to try something. A buddy of mine told me something to try with the MLS gasket, and I'll show you guys in the next video, and we're going to try and see if that helps us. Sure, we could have a jet engine in that bitch somehow, right? There's no rules and no prep against jet engines, so big block would be cheaper than an LS. No, it would not. This is what I don't understand. The people are, you know, saying about like, oh, just put money into the big block or whatever. You have to understand that engine is a $300 to $400 engine complete with about $1,000 maybe dollars into it. We're talking about a $1,500 engine at best. If I took $1,500 and threw it at the big block, it would laugh. Be like, okay, you got some pistons, now what? You know what I mean? Russian tank engines will hit the mark. Bob Hill, we're doing good. Man, I wish I was your parts supplier. You waste so much money. No, I can tell you the answer to that is no. Because generally speaking, I mean, I guess I could be honest about this. Like, I have dealer deals with a lot of companies, and I have wholesale accounts and everything else. That just comes from my time of owning a shop back in the day. So, typically speaking, I'm never paying full price for anything. Jet engine, that would clear out, right? That would clear out the start line. TKM, need a lighter car. Do you write off your parts? The parts of blah 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 blah. Yep, too low, yes. But the flip side, and what people don't understand about, like, everybody's like, oh, write off. You still have to have the money to get it in the first place. Matt, is the big block going back together? Yes, the big block is going back together. Big block will be back in the Nova eventually. Engine builder is waiting on parts. I talked about it a little bit earlier, so I'm not going to go into the full details, but yes, big block will be making a return. We are waiting on parts and getting it together. Tom Nelson engine, hell yeah. Keep figuring out, keep learning. That's agree. Oh, no prep for bracket. Don't wait anything. Yep. Yeah, bracket racing is, in my opinion, bracket racing is easier on parts because when you bracket race, you can go, hey, I am going to run 850 to the 8th. So I have to build a motor that's capable of running 8 seconds to the 8th and turn it down and make it live and happy. Absolutely would be easier. My pistons cost $1,900 for my 528. Exactly. Georgia boy, thank you, brother. Big block shit is not cheaper. Or you get a forged crank next $1,500. Yep. When's the next time you and Billy be racing together? When I start going fast again. Did your piston go up the high and it hit the head? No. The only concern, the only concern we would have is the piston to valve clearance. This cam has a very large intake lift for a factory LS. It was designed that way, but the if we would be hitting the piston, or the valve would be hitting the piston before the piston would be hitting the head. I can tell you that, just based on my setup and what we have in the cam and everything else. My forged pistons for a 565 big block cost $200 used. That's a good deal. Matt, you're probably the only YouTube I can relate real life with. I mean, look, I'm telling you, it comes with, there's a lot of shit that comes with this, but this is it. This is really it. I'm just a normal ass dude who loves racing. I've been trying to do this for years. I don't even know if you guys know this, but years ago I used to have a repair shop. I had a repair shop here in Delaware. You know, we didn't do shit like this. We did normal car repair stuff. You know, I had employees. I was really more of the business guy. You know what I mean? I put together the business. I did customer quotes. I turned a wrench every once in a while, but I had hired, you know, ASE mechanics and that kind of stuff. So people need to understand that racing is expensive with sponsorship. Yeah, it's still, even with sponsorships and stuff, like, you know, for example, like we were talking about Nitrous Express earlier. Nitrous Express is one of my sponsors. I still pay for things. You know, I'm not getting it for free. I bet your heads were not straight to begin with. I don't doubt it. Value 5.3. David Reed. What was the spot on point that David Reed made? The multi-layer head gaskets require retorquing after a heat cycle. Yep, I did. And even after we had issues, that's the weird thing, is even after we had issues, the heads were still checking out at 75 pounds. I just bought the grid system. Whew. The old Jeep videos. Tommy knows. Tommy Cook knows about the old school videos. The hell with fixing people's stuff. Yeah, I will tell you, I owned a repair shop. Oh, man. Probably. Actually, this came up at some point in life. Somebody had asked, would I ever open up a shop again? I can tell you, generally speaking, my answer would be no. The only way that I could ever foresee myself, you know, being involved with that sort of thing again is if it was more of a situation where somebody, you know, like maybe where I owned the shop and the name of the shop was DNR Auto again, but it was really somebody else running it, and that, you know, I just don't have any interest in going back to that personally. Matt, you don't need to move south. Right, we could use some better weather. Thank you, Kim. Bless your Sunday as well. The hill was already on the way out. You just finish it off, no big deal. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. We still have to check you know, I got to check the surfaces. I got to take a really good look at the pistons, make sure everything's happy there. But the initial, yeah, Mallory says no. The initial look tells me that the pistons all look really fine. I didn't melt anything. So, how long have you had the Nova, and is the paint original? I've had the Nova 3 years, something like that, 3-4 years, and the gold is the original color. How we got here is not how it came. You'll have to go back like 2 or 3 years in videos and you can see all the process on that. If my Jeep gets a death wobble, I'll take the thing on fire and call the authorities. Yeah, we used to fix Jeep death wobbles. And the funny part about it is we fixed them very similarly to the way that the dealership fixed them. You know, at that time, when I had my shop, we were kind of big in the Jeep market, and I had a pretty good working relationship with the local Dodge dealership. But it's pretty much, you got to throw a lot of parts at it to get it fixed. Ugh. What bolts or studs do you use for the heads? I used eBay ones and had issues. I'm using similar ones, just some El Cheapos. Never let a dream die. Keep on keeping on. Damn right. We're in the same boat, literally. You scoped already? Scoped what? Like scoped the heads are off. We can look right at the pistons right now. It'd be boring if it didn't break. If you're not breaking things, you're not trying hard enough. That's the fact of the matter. Don't get me wrong. You shouldn't be breaking things every damn day. But, you know, right now I'm dealing with a lot of shit on the internet just because the big block broke. We had a lifter failure in the big block. Like, how the hell is that my fault? And then this one here could have been my fault. But it's not like I'm out breaking edges every day. Honestly, this legitimately is the first time I've ever lifted a head on an LS. Had any sort of head gasket issue, anything. The Dodger is the Dodger has been getting 200 sprayed through it on a terribly built setup and just been living and been happy. What is your piston and valve clearance? How much can you shave off the heads? Tyler, I don't have that exact measurement answer, but I can tell you with a 649 lift on the intake, factory deck height, factory head height, factory gasket is okay, but we cannot, if I wanted to shave anything off the heads more than just a skim, we would have to be looking at piston valve just to make sure. Them LS motor got coil pack on the valve cover. You can't get collect valve adjustment. There is no valve adjustment. There is no. You don't adjust the valves in an LS like you do a big block. You use factory rockers and you torque them to spec, which I think is 22 pounds off the top of my head. You're not going in there and checking. It's a hydraulic setup. It's a hydraulic roller setup. You just torque it to spec and let it eat. Oh. Man, there's 400 of y'all tuning in, checking out. I just want to say, while I got you guys all here, thank you very much. The very large majority of you guys are incredibly supportive, have been watching every video. We do got to talk about that, though, because I see on my YouTube statistics that like returning viewers might be at 60,000. Like there's 60,000 returning viewers, but we only have like 33,000 subscribers. So there's like a whole 30,000 people that watch every video that have not subscribed. Or a thicker MLS gasket. Yeah, Tyler, we would have to look at going to a thicker. We would have to check piston valve clearance. But yeah, ultimately the 649 lift on the intake is quite a bit. We would have to check piston valve clearance if I if I did anything to those heads other than really a skim coat. If I started taking thousands off, you know, pretty hard, we definitely have to be checking into that. I do 25 foot-pounds. Yeah, I think I want to say the spec is 22 or 24, 25 is right in there, you know, all that kind of stuff. Dude, because I need a break from working on my own shit box. Damn right. Take a little break. Matt, get you at SBC 400. Absolutely fucking not. What's up, Aaron? Hit that big thumbs up. Thank you. I guess I'll take you real quick and show you guys. Got to stay hydrated. I talk a lot. At all there. Here we go. I'm gonna show you, and this one's gonna hurt your feelings because the cylinder wall is not perfect. That was the one that I was questioning, but the it's holding. You know, I've seen worse, but pistons all look fine as far as, you know, first view, physically looking at them. You can shim up your rocker stands. I could do that. Mallory's inside working on, I think we're gonna have dinner here soon. I think she's making us up some good dinner that I am really looking forward to. Yep, see, I thought I saw a little something on a piston there, but that's good. AC, you know, that's a good question. I'll explain to you. I'll explain to you how this works. Or run shorter push rods. Yes, we could do all of those things, but ultimately all that would come from checking the piston valve clearance anyway. Can you tell about your racing program's budget for the year? You have mentioned budget off it. So I will explain to you guys how this works, right? I do make money on YouTube, right? When I put out videos, they get views. The way that YouTube works, and this is generally speaking for everybody on YouTube, there's commercials. We get a portion of that advertising revenue. The exact specifics of how that all work and how much money people make and all that, I could try to explain it to you guys, but there is no solid answer. There is no, well, if you get 100,000 views, you make X amount of dollars. It doesn't work that way because of a whole other, just because of the way it works. And to try to explain it, it's just very, I feel like it's very hard to explain because I just don't think a lot of people can you get the grasp of it. And it takes a while for you, even as an individual doing it, to get the grasp of it. With that being said, there are other opportunities that come up. You guys will see in an upcoming video, I have signed a contract for an ad in one of my videos. Like when you watch the Cletus videos and he says this video is brought to you by blah 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 blah, I will have one video coming up here shortly with one of those ads in it. The racing budget comes from my YouTube advertising revenue. So the way that we get to do things is directly determined by how well my YouTube channel does. Right now, like I said, I've been putting out a video every 2.5 days on YouTube. That is making, that is making my channel grow. That is bringing consistency. It's also doing things for me personally, like keeping me focused on making sure that I'm attending to the race program the best that I can. And ultimately, it's going to make me a little bit more money. So that is the race budget. Everything that I put out on YouTube is essentially how we get to continue to race and everything else. I hope that is a good answer for the question, or what you were looking for. Probably the best way that I can answer that, but yeah. Block needs to be cleaned big time. Yeah, we got to get a bunch of that stuff off the block. We got to clean it up. Matt, my new owner for Park, had all ordered trailer check, blah, 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 blah. Mine had walls removed and fixed on installation and replaced. Sweet. I love the rubber in the rear. Yeah, I never really sand that off or take that off. Do you make more off YouTube if we watch the commercials in full? I don't know the answer to that question. The way, I do not think so. I believe the way that this happens is when you guys are shown the commercial, the company is paying YouTube to show that commercial. Whether or not you watch the whole thing, it doesn't matter. They're still paying YouTube. So I don't think that you have to sit through all the commercials. You know, you can hit the skip button. It doesn't matter. Whatever company that's paying for it has already paid for it. Matt, thank you for what you do and educated people on ALS swaps, especially being budget minded. Absolutely, we're just trying to do. You know what I mean? We're just trying to have some fun. What's the upside down T thing on top of the piston for flow and flame travel? I don't know. That's the factory. Some factory LS pistons are stamped with that cross. I have no idea what that is, like why it's there. I don't know if there is a specific reason. I'm sure that there is. It wouldn't be there for no reason, but I don't know what it is. What heads? The heads are 853, 862. Sorry, 862 heads. Oh. Oh man, it's actually not. It's a little chilly today, but I'm glad that the weather is finally starting to turn around on us. And we're getting some good weather and working it out. Gives me an opportunity to be out here a little more and working, and not with the heater blast and everything else. So, oh dang. Matt, I think your valve is leaking. Have the valve cut. You mean like have the valves what? Or you're talking about cutting the pistons? Let me see here. Let me grab this head. Well, you guys probably can't see the head on camera, but I don't. Actually, I can move the camera. You're live during NASCAR. I didn't even know people watch NASCAR anymore. I thought everybody was all upset with NASCAR and the things that they were doing. But you guys can see here, there's definitely been some heat introduced. The flip side to this is, I'm wondering, it almost looks like the anti-seize I put on the bolts have somehow made their way into the combustion chamber. But none of the valves. I mean, obviously I'm going to clean this up and clean the head up and take a better look, because once you put everything together, like this crap here from the head gaskets, the sealing portion of the head gaskets is all over everything. It needs to be cleaned and all that good stuff, and then we can take a closer look at it to see if there's any need, if there's any actual cracks in the head or in the valves or all that kind of stuff. From what I understand, revenue from commercials goes to YouTube, and how that's what helps pay creators. Absolutely. Oh, thank you, babe. Yes, that's exactly how it works. So essentially, YouTube makes money off of those ads, and then they take a portion of that money and they give it to the creator themselves. Big time heat, yep. Is it possible that the head was warped before you ever put it on? Absolutely, 110% possible. I did not take them to a machine shop or anything to have them checked out appropriately, so 110% completely possible. The valve has nothing to do with the coolant, but the heads do crack right between the valves. If you can, try to use 243 or 799. They say they're the best flowing. Absolutely, they are the best, alleged flowing factory cathedral port head, but I do not think that the amount, they still fetch a pretty high premium in the used parts market, and I do not think that the amount of gain that you get for them is worth the dollar amount spent. .407 people in here, and only 108 of us liked The more like hell, yeah, the likes do help. You can start. I'm over. Might be the spring, weak springs. I don't know, dude. I mean, don't get me wrong. Factory parts, brand new, have or not factory parts, but brand new parts have been bad. But that is a set of brand new 660 dual lift springs, titanium retainers, new valve seals, all that kind of stuff. Put some water or alcohol in the chambers and see if they leak. Oh, good idea. Good idea. I see what you're saying. I'm picking up what you're putting down. That would be a smart little thing that I could do. I like your style. We might do that. The question is, do I put it in from the top? Do I put some in the exhaust port and the intake port from the top and see if it leaks at the bottom? Or do I flip it upside down and put it... It's probably going to be easier to see if I put it in the top. If you think you have a cracked head based on what's happening, I would try a different pair of heads. I do not think that I have a cracked head. At this point in time, all that I think that has happened is I created a mass amount of cylinder pressure and it lifted the heads. That's the only thing that I am thinking is what went wrong here. Look back at the block in the head, it lifted the head gasket. Yeah, you can tell it lifted the head gasket. Like it's very, because you can see right at the bottom where it lifted, and then that combustion gas was in the coolant passages. Heat can weaken valve stems. Good call. You can use windshield washer fluid in the chambers, pour it down the ports. Yep, top of. Yeah, we'll go on the top. Good call. I'll do that. I mean, I got both heads off, and it's nothing. It's nothing to see. You know what I mean? We'll put it right in the intake and the exhaust port, and then we'll let it sit for a while and check out underneath, see what's happening. Actually, the stool that my GoPro is on would be a very great place to do that. So after I'm done with this video, we're gonna have a very, very delicious dinner. So I'll set the heads up on here and pour some stuff in it. MLS gasket. Yep, we're using a factory style MLS gasket. We had that issue with our Honda. It would only push water at the top end of the track. Head was cracked. Or fill combustion chamber, see if it leaks down. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff we can check, guys. We can get to it. We can make it do it. And I'm with you. Good advice. You talked about timing. Low timing shouldn't push the head. So low timing shouldn't push the head. I agree with you. I do believe that too low of timing creating